3, 2, 1. And our next guest here on Sports Medicine Weekly, we bring in Kim Stein. Kim is the Senior Principal Scientist, Engagement Lead for Gatorade Sports Science Institute. And, Doc, I know they've been working a lot with the Chicago Bulls.
They have. They've been a tremendous adjunct just because there really is a lot of science behind this. And we're getting to the point now where it's not just like the color of your urine or the volume you take, but we're getting very objective. As hydration is I think back to like played high school football, we would have doubles and you
no
felt
water.
Like it was a mortal sin to drink something, you know? I mean, where did that come from? You know, it was
we didn't
crazy.
get water until after practice.
Right, we were just dying out there.
Can you imagine?
Surprised
more kids didn't die.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, anyway.
Kim is a scientist with a background in exercise, physiology, and sports nutrition. I love this, her master's degree in organic chemistry from University of Notre Dame. And Kim, thanks so much for joining us. What are the services and resources that the Gatorade Sports Science Institute provides to your NBA players and teams? And I know you also work with the G League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the things that we do beyond education is try and help the athletes understand their own hydration needs. So we will go in with a team and do a sweat test with them where we will very closely monitor all fluids going into their body, all fluids coming out of their body. And we will also use a sweat patch where we can take a sweat sample, and we're very careful to make sure it's not contaminated, et cetera. And we can look at the electrolyte composition of their sweat. And as a result of that, we will give them back a plan, letting them know how much fluid they are losing in that particular scenario, how much sodium they're losing in their sweat, because sodium is the main electrolyte lost in sweat. Give them an assessment of how well they're doing in meeting their needs, and then help them create a plan going forward. We also assess their carbohydrate intake as well, because that's a key component of a sports nutrition and hydration plan. So again, we'll let them know how well they're doing and how close they are meeting their recommendations.
Knowing how the training rooms work, you've got the athletic trainers, nutritionists, a lot of people interact with the players. How are they actually getting it done? Is there someone full-time assigned to a G League team?
We send our scientists to the G League teams to execute the test, and we do it during a practice that is high intensity and as close to game-like as possible, so that the results can be as applicable to a game as possible. We have done some testing in the G League during games as well, for the teams that have requested that. We then work very closely with the athletic trainer. We feel like the athletic trainer is the person with the relationship with the athlete, and they should be the one giving their results back to them. So we work with the athletic trainer. They then deliver the results with the athletes and help them implement.
Visiting with Kim Stein, Gatorade Sports Science Institute. This is Sports Medicine Weekly. Steve Kashul and Dr. Brian Cole. What has been the response, Kim, from the league team and players? Are they buying in?
Yes. One of the fun things for us about doing this is that the athletes especially tend to be a little skeptical when we go in. And then we do the test, we give them the results, we get to know them a little bit. And then the feedback that we get is always very positive. The RD that works with the Windy City Bulls shared with me a story of an athlete who told her that, he got his sweat testing results, was very surprised by them, that he wasn't meeting his hydration needs, made some changes, and felt fantastic. Like he could really feel the difference. And so we like to hear those success stories. And so overall, from the athletes, they are always surprised by. Not always, but because some of the athletes are doing a good job with their hydration. The ones that aren't tend to be surprised and have embraced it. The athletic trainers have absolutely embraced it.
Do you get some data during a practice? Then do you come up with a season-long plan based upon that data that's done sort of at one period of time? Or is this I'm just trying to get a sense of how you actually execute a program like this, because the dynamic is tough. The athletes are everywhere. They have outside hydration, they have inside under a controlled environment, and how you actually, create a valid metric to say, here's a plan. Do you actually come up with a plan that is for the whole season based upon the data you collect over a short period of time?
Yes, you are right. It is tough. And the plan we give them is mostly applicable to games, to competition. In an ideal world, if we had as much time as we wanted to spend with a team, we would give them a full hydration profile where we would test them during a shoot-around, during a low-intensity practice, during a high-intensity practice, during a game, because we know that intensity of play is one of the key factors that's going to determine a hydration plan. Now, with basketball, we're a little lucky that the environment is fairly stable. It's different with an outdoor sport. You're also dealing with environmental changes. We don't have that in basketball. But these teams are so busy, and they're on the road so much, and we just don't have access to get there during all these scenarios. So we give them a plan that's as closest to competition that they can implement during their games, during their high-intensity practices. And then it's really the athletic trainer who's with them day in and day out that helps them implement the plan that we give them.
Again, visiting with Kim Stein, Gatorade Sports Science Institute. Kim, final question here. How can we relate this to the weekend warrior out there? I know you're working with these high-end, NBA, G League, and NBA players, but what about for the common person out there?
Yeah, so kind of the school of thought that we recommend is that if that weekend warrior is out exercising or maybe out playing basketball for an hour or so, maybe it's not super hot, drinking to thirst is probably okay. Making sure they have fluids, drinking when they're thirsty. They don't necessarily have to have a full sweat test. They can watch if they are wearing dark colored or they see salt caking up on them from their salt, then they might be a saltier sweater. Maybe they want a beverage that has sodium in it. But now when they're going longer, let's say you're training for a half marathon, or you're just out for several hours in the heat in a recreational soccer tournament, that's when having a hydration plan is really beneficial for both your safety and your performance. And so it's fairly easy to come up with it yourself because you just monitor your body weight. So if you've lost weight during a session, it can only be from fluid. And 1 pound is 16 ounces. And so you know how much fluid you need to put back and maybe add to the plan the next time. It's harder to assess your own sodium, but you can certainly put together a hydration plan if you need to based on body weight changes. Again, that's if you're going a little bit longer, a little bit harder, or in a hotter, humid environment.
Senior Principal Scientist, Engagement Lead, Gatorade Sports Science Institute. That is Kim Stein. Kim, thanks so much for joining us here on Sports Medicine Weekly.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And we're back with our staple of the show, Ask the Doctor, after this.
On The Score 670.